Breaking news has rocked the hip-hop world yet again, and this time, it's Young Thug in the center of a chaotic legal storm that no one saw coming. In a dramatic twist that could rival any Hollywood script, the Atlanta rapper was seen screaming and resisting as authorities cuffed him outside a luxury recording studio late last night. Eyewitnesses say the scene was nothing short of explosive: flashing lights, shouting, chaos, and the reason: a shocking probation violation that could land him behind bars once again. Sources close to the situation claim this wasn't just a routine arrest. This was personal. Emotions ran high, and cameras captured Young Thug shouting, "You'll set me up! I did everything they asked me to do," while being pushed into the back of a blacked-out SUV. Fans are stunned, the industry is reeling, and even Thug's own camp appears blindsided. What triggered this sudden downfall? Who really called the cops? And is there more to the story than we're being told? Get ready, because what we're about to uncover is a tangled web of loyalty, betrayal, legal drama, and a desperate cry for help from one of rap's most controversial icons. And trust us, this is only the beginning. It all started just after 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night in Atlanta. Young Thug, real name Jeffrey Lamar Williams, had just wrapped up a long session at a private studio in Midtown. Insiders say he was in good spirits, even laughing with producers and team members about a new track that was meant to shake the game. But everything changed the moment he stepped outside. Waiting at the curb was a line of black SUVs, their headlights cutting through the humid Georgia air, and within seconds, the flashing red and blue lights followed. Unmarked vehicles swarmed the entrance like a scene out of a crime thriller. At first, no one knew what was happening. Fans and onlookers thought it was paparazzi. But then came the yelling. An officer shouted for Young Thug to put your hands where we can see them, while another rushed toward him with cuffs drawn. That's when the rapper exploded. Witnesses said he screamed, "What is this? You're playing with my life," as he backed away, clearly confused and furious. Footage that quickly spread online showed Thug in a black hoodie, visibly shaken, as officers surrounded him. Someone from his crew can be heard yelling, "He's on probation. He been clean, check. The record!" But the officers weren't listening. They were on a mission, and within moments, Thug was in cuffs, his face full of rage, confusion, and what some fans described as heartbreak. What followed was even more unexpected. As the squad cars pulled off into the night, social media exploded. Twitter, Instagram, even TikTok lit up with the news. Young Thug arrested again? What did he do now? Some asked. Others weren't so kind. He stay in trouble. Same old Thug. But for the people who truly know him, this wasn't just another arrest. This was something deeper, something personal. Sources close to the rapper say that the violation wasn't even something new. Allegedly, Thug had missed a check-in with his probation officer 3 weeks ago due to a last-minute out-of-state performance. His team had reportedly emailed documentation and even followed up with phone calls. But somehow, it wasn't enough. And now, the authorities were treating him like a fugitive. One insider said, "He's been working so hard to stay out of trouble. He's not that same guy from years ago. He's been going to therapy, staying focused, providing for his kids. And they just ripped all that away over something so minor." The emotional weight of that moment hit even harder when his longtime friend and collaborator Gunna went live just hours after the arrest. Visibly upset, Gunna said, "This ain't right. Thug been trying. They always do us like this. Man's been changing, doing everything right, and they still find a way to take him down." But the drama didn't end there. Word started to spread that someone inside Young Thug's circle may have tipped off authorities. A leak. A betrayal. And just like that, a new wave of speculation hit the internet. Somebody snitched, one post read. They knew where he was, when he'd be there, and what time he'd leave. Ain't no way that was random. And that's when fans turned their attention to someone unexpected. A former associate named Rico, who had worked with Thug during the early days of his career. Once tight, the two had a very public falling out in 2022. after Rico was allegedly caught leaking unreleased music to blogs. He denied it, but the damage was done, and he was dropped from Thug's team entirely. Fast forward to now, and guess who just signed a new deal with a rival label? That's right, Rico. And guess who's been unusually quiet on social media since the arrest? Also, Rico.fans were quick to connect the dots, and it didn't take long before Rico Atara started trending. While there's no concrete evidence yet, the timing was too perfect, too suspicious. But there's another layer to this story that no one saw coming. According to an anonymous tip sent to an Atlanta news outlet, young Thug had been planning to expose a major player in the industry, someone with ties to law enforcement and high-level politics. The tipster claimed Thug had been collecting receipts, emails, and voice memos, preparing to drop a tell-all that would shake the streets and the suits. Could this arrest be an attempt to silence him? When asked, his attorney remained tight-lipped, only saying, "We're investigating all possible motives behind this arrest, including internal and external influences." The legal drama continued to unfold the next morning when Thug appeared in court via video. He looked tired, eyes red, hair unbraided and noticeably agitated. The judge read the probation violation charge and announced that a formal hearing would be held in 5 days. But what caught everyone's attention wasn't the charge, it was Thug's reaction. When the judge mentioned the missed check-in, Thug interrupted, shouting, "I called them, I got receipts, they ignoring facts." The judge warned him to remain silent, but it was too late. The tension in the courtroom was boiling over. Outside, fans had gathered, holding signs that read, "Free Thug" and "Justice for Jeffrey." One emotional fan told reporters, "He inspired me to change my life. He don't deserve this. They trying to kill his spirit." Meanwhile, back in the industry, whispers were getting louder. One producer tweeted, "Atlanta about to blow up with this Thug case. Too many secrets, too many people with something to lose." Even Thug's family was caught in the crossfire. His younger sister, Kiara, took to Instagram, posting a now-deleted story that read, "He ain't perfect, but he don't deserve this. You're trying to bury him alive." Then came the leak of a voicemail allegedly recorded just hours before the arrest. In it, young Thug is heard telling someone, "They watching me. I feel it. They want me gone. But I ain't going nowhere, not without telling the truth." What truth? And who is they? The questions were piling up fast, and the answers felt further away than ever. As the story picked up steam, so did the stakes. This wasn't just a probation violation anymore. It was a high-stakes battle between one of hip-hop's biggest voices and a system that seemed determined to silence him. And just when fans thought it couldn't get more intense, something happened that turned the entire situation upside down. Just when fans thought it couldn't get more intense, something happened that turned the entire situation upside down. Less than 24 hours after young Thug's arrest, a mysterious USB drive was mailed anonymously to a local Atlanta journalist known for covering hip-hop legal news. No note, no return address, just the drive. According to the journalist, who chose to remain anonymous for safety reasons, what was inside the drive was nothing short of explosive. The files allegedly included voice memos, private screenshots, and even video clips of conversations between unnamed music executives, probation officers, and individuals believed to be connected to law enforcement. In one memo, a voice sounding eerily similar to Thug's can be heard saying, "If something happened to me, look at the folks up top. They scared of what I know." The journalist refused to share the full contents publicly, but confirmed that the material suggests a coordinated effort to monitor and trap the rapper. The revelation set the internet ablaze. Fans started theorizing everything from government setups to music industry vendettas. Some even compared it to the early days of Tupac's paranoia about industry betrayal. "We've seen this before," one user wrote. "They fear powerful black voices. Thug got too loud, and now they're trying to shut him up." Meanwhile, from behind bars, young Thug reportedly refused all visitors for 2 days. His legal team released a brief statement saying their client was processing what feels like a betrayal at every level. Sources close to him revealed he was hurt more than angry. convinced someone in his inner circle had played a role in orchestrating the takedown. And that's when a shocking name resurfaced: YSL Kev. Once a trusted member of Young Thug's crew and known publicly as a street-savvy manager type, Kev had been suspiciously absent from Thug's recent moves. The two had a falling out earlier in the year after a heated dispute over money. Kev believed he was owed for unreleased tracks and tour support. Thug allegedly cut ties after discovering Kev had been back-channeling with rival labels. Now, rumours were swirling that Kev had turned informant. An unverified court document leaked online hinted that a former associate with deep access to defendants' daily routine had given the tip that led to the probation check setup. Although names were redacted, fans didn't need much to connect the dots. Reddit threads, fan pages and Twitter were flooded with speculation. Some fans defended Kev, calling the leaks fake. Others were convinced he was behind everything. As the tensions grew, so did the media circus. National outlets began covering the story. TMs ran the headline: Young Thug targeted. New evidence suggests setup. Local Atlanta news stations did back-to-back specials on the rapper's legal troubles and cultural impact. Even radio hosts who previously avoided Thug's name out of controversy began weighing in. "This goes beyond music," one commentator said. "This is about influence. Young Thug ain't just a rapper, he's a movement. And when movements get too loud, somebody always tries to quiet them." Then came an unexpected twist. During a press conference held by Thug's legal team, his lead attorney, Micah Bradley, made a bold claim. They would be filing a motion to suppress the arrest entirely on the basis of entrapment and targeted surveillance. "We have reason to believe that Mr. Williams's rights were systematically violated, and that this probation violation was not only mishandled, but orchestrated," Bradley stated. "We are seeking immediate release pending a formal investigation." The courtroom erupted the following day as the motion was presented. The prosecution pushed back hard, arguing Thug had violated terms regardless of the circumstances. But the judge agreed to review the new evidence in a closed session, giving Thug's team a sliver of hope. Outside the courthouse, dozens of fans gathered again, this time chanting "Free Thug" louder than ever before. A few even held up enlarged prints of his lyrics, calling him a prophet and a visionary, silenced for speaking too much truth. Inside, however, another drama was brewing. Prosecutors revealed that they were now looking into Thug's finances and travel history, claiming he had established patterns of behavior inconsistent with probation compliance. They brought up old footage of him partying in Dubai, luxury cars, and other flexes as evidence of non-cooperation. Fans were quick to slam this tactic. "Since when is being successful a crime?" someone tweeted. But then, out of nowhere, a new bombshell landed. A former probation officer came forward anonymously to a blog site and dropped a chilling statement. "We were told to flag any movement that looked suspicious, no matter how small. With him, we were told to be stricter than usual." This admission raised eyebrows across legal circles. It suggested Thug's probation was under surveillance, not just because of prior history, but because someone with power wanted to keep tabs, or worse, push him to fail. And still, Thug remained silent. Those close to him say he was spending his time reading, working out, and writing new music. A trusted friend who visited him said, "He told me, this is only going to make me sharper. They thought they could break me, but all they did was light a fire." One night, a snippet of a jail phone call leaked online. In the short clip, Thug's voice is heard, calm but intense. "I know who flipped, and when I get out, the game gonna know too." Those 9 words sent a chill through the industry. Was he preparing for a musical comeback, an exposé, or something else entirely? Rappers like Lil Baby, Future, and even Drake started posting cryptic messages of support. Drake's story simply read, "They never ready for the truth," with a snake emoji. Fans took that as a direct hit at whoever turned on Thug. By the time the hearing date approached, the entire city of Atlanta seemed to be on edge. There was talk of protests, rap crews threatening to expose others, and even a rumored documentary deal being pitched behind the scenes. The pressure was building, and just when it seemed like things couldn't get more volatile, Thug's team released one final message before the hearing. "We've been quiet, we've stayed patient, but tomorrow, everything comes out." The day of the hearing arrived, and Atlanta felt like it had stopped breathing. The courthouse was swarmed with reporters, fans, and even rival rap crews looking to see how it would all unfold. Heavy security surrounded the building, as online threats and heated social media exchanges had caused authorities to tighten protection. Everyone knew this wasn't just another court appearance. It was about to be a reckoning. Inside the courtroom, young Thug appeared in person for the first time since his arrest. Dressed in a simple beige jumpsuit, his hair twisted tightly back and his face expressionless, he walked in slowly but with purpose. The moment he entered, the room fell completely silent. Even the judge paused. Then, the proceedings began. Thug's lawyer, Micah Bradley, didn't hold back. He started by playing a brief clip from one of the leaked recordings. In it, a man's voice is heard discussing pressure from the top to keep a certain artist under close watch, specifically citing travel and digital activity. While the voice wasn't identified, the implication was clear. Young Thug was being targeted. Bradley continued by presenting call logs, appointment confirmations, and email records showing Thug's attempt to reschedule the missed probation meeting that triggered the violation. "This is not defiance," he argued. "This is someone trying to follow the rules in the midst of a chaotic industry schedule. And instead of understanding, they set a trap." But then, in a shocking moment, the prosecution dropped their own twist. They claimed that young Thug's team had been withholding critical information about his communication with known felons, something strictly prohibited under probation terms. They presented a list of names, including YSL members previously arrested under RICO charges. "He wasn't just traveling," the prosecutor said coldly. "He was moving with people he knew he wasn't supposed to be near." Gasps echoed through the courtroom. Thug leaned back in his chair, shaking his head slowly. Then he whispered something to his lawyer, who nodded slightly. The tension was unbearable. Suddenly, the judge called for a brief recess. Outside, the crowd was buzzing. Bloggers were already uploading live updates. Some fans were crying. One supporter screamed, "They trying to bury him alive." Others clutched signs, phones raised, waiting for any updates. Then something unexpected happened. A black SUV pulled up just outside the courthouse, and from it stepped none other than Thug's mother, Miss Veronica, dressed in all black with oversized shades. She didn't speak a word, but her presence sent a powerful message. This wasn't just about a rapper and the law. This was a family fighting back against a system that felt deeply personal. After the recess, court resumed, and this time, Bradley came armed with a final piece of evidence, a sworn affidavit from a former officer who had previously worked on Thug's probation case. In it, the officer admitted they were told to watch him closely due to orders from high above, implying political or industry influence. The document didn't name names, but it was enough to shake the room. The judge reviewed everything quietly, his fingers steepled, eyes scanning the papers in front of him. The silence stretched for what felt like hours. Then, finally, he spoke. "Given the conflicting evidence and ongoing investigation into the legitimacy of this violation, the court will grant supervised release pending the next hearing." The room exploded. Fans cheered outside. Media reporters scrambled to tweet and update headlines. Young Thug released on supervision. Bombshell evidence raises questions. The court was adjourned, but the war was far from over. Thug's face remained unreadable as he stood and turned to leave. But those close to him said his eyes told a different story. Pain, exhaustion, and a fire that hadn't dimmed one bit. After his release, the streets of Atlanta erupted in celebration. Clips of fans dancing outside strip malls, blasting Thugs. Music and waving YSL flags flooded TikTok and Instagram. Within hours, Your Free Thug turned into Thug Home. But what came next was even more intense. Thug went silent. No post, no live, no tweet. Instead, it was his team that broke the silence. A cryptic teaser video dropped on his official YouTube channel, 15 seconds long, black screen, a single piano note repeating, and then Thug's voice. "You tried to bury me, but I'm the seed." Fans lost their minds. The comments blew up. Is he dropping a diss? A documentary? An album? One user wrote, "The industry ain't ready for the revenge season." And behind the scenes, even more was brewing. Someone had leaked that young Thug was meeting with a major media network to produce an exposé, a raw, unfiltered look into his side of the story. The working title? Probation, the trap they built. But not everyone was happy about the idea of Thug speaking out. Rumors began swirling that executives from major record labels, and even higher, were trying to block the release. Threats were allegedly sent, partnerships frozen, and a few artists suddenly started distancing themselves online. Drake and Lil Baby removed their recent stories mentioning Thug. Producers who'd been openly supportive began posting neutral messages. Something was shifting, quietly but noticeably. One producer who asked to remain anonymous told a blog, "There's some powerful people that don't want this story told. He knows too much. He saw too much. And now that he's got a platform, they scared." Still, Thug pressed on. From a private location, he reportedly began working on a 2-part album series inspired by everything he had just lived through. Close sources say the project is raw, vulnerable, and unlike anything he's released before. But even as he was regaining his footing, the betrayals kept surfacing. A leaked phone conversation between 2 unnamed voices hit the internet. In it, one person says, "You think he know it was Kev?" To which the other replies, "He gon' find out. And when he do, that boy better disappear." This revelation reignited suspicions around Kev, who, up until now, had avoided public statements. Finally, he broke his silence on an Instagram live, denying everything. "I ain't snitched on nobody. That's cap. Y'all want somebody to blame. I love that dude like a brother. This all fake news." But the internet wasn't convinced. Fans dissected every word, every gesture. "He lying," someone wrote. "Look at his eyes. He guilty." Others posted side-by-side clips of Kev in 2021 versus now, comparing behavior, tone, even his circle of friends. He switched up, they claimed. And Thug know it. Back in Atlanta, tension was running high. Rival crews were allegedly being watched by police, worried that the drama might spill into the streets. What began as a legal battle was quickly turning into something much bigger, a power struggle between loyalty and betrayal, silence and truth, the industry and the streets. And in the middle of it all stood young Thug, no longer just fighting for his freedom, but for his voice. The pressure on young Thug was reaching a boiling point. Despite being released on supervised conditions, the looming weight of a full trial still hung over him. Every move he made was watched, dissected, and interpreted either as a victory or a setup for downfall. While fans celebrated his return, Thug himself was more cautious than ever. His inner circle had shrunk. Those he once trusted blindly were now kept at arm's length. He started spending more time in the studio and less time in the public eye. Insiders whispered that he was recording non-stop, sometimes 15 hours a day, fueled by anger, betrayal, and an overwhelming need to tell his side of the story before anyone else could twist it. Then came the biggest shock yet. A major Atlanta blog posted a photo that would instantly go viral. In the picture, young Thug was seen standing outside a well-known music lawyer's office with Gunna. Yes, Gunna, the same artist many had accused of cooperating in the YSL RICO case the year before. The internet exploded. "What is this?" Fans screamed online. "Has Thug forgiven Gunna? Was it a setup all along?" Some were furious, calling it a betrayal. Others saw it as a strategic move, a power play. Maybe Thug was trying to reunite the empire from within. Or maybe, just maybe, it was a trap. But before the speculation could settle, Thug posted a single cryptic message on his story. "Forgiveness ain't the same as forgetting. Watch how I move." Nobody knew what it meant. Not exactly. But everyone felt it. Something big was coming. As the music industry scrambled to keep up with the drama, major labels started positioning themselves. Reports surfaced that several companies were offering Thug massive contracts to release his new 2-part album under their label. Some going as high as $50 million. It wasn't just about music anymore. It was about owning the narrative. But Thug wasn't biting. Instead, he reached out to an independent distribution powerhouse with one condition: full creative control. Insiders say he wanted every track, every skit, every visual to be untouched, raw. No edits, no filters. "I want them to hear the truth like they were sitting in the room with me," he reportedly told the team. And then, without warning, he dropped the bomb. At midnight, Part 1 of the album titled Violation Season dropped. No promo, no radio interviews. Just a quiet post with a black and white cover and the words, "They said I violated, so I'm violating the silence." Fans stayed up all night streaming. The first track, Probation Dreams, opened with real courtroom audio, layered under a haunting piano loop and Thug's voice, calm, calculated, and painfully honest. By the third track, Loyalty Got a Price, the internet was fully on fire. "This ain't rap," one fan wrote. "This is confession. This is war." Every lyric felt like it was aimed directly at someone. Unnamed officers, fake friends, even subtle jabs at other rappers who switched sides when the storm came. The emotion was raw, no auto-tune, no gloss, just Thug, bearing his soul. But the album wasn't just music, it was strategy. Within the lyrics were clues, hidden names, events fans could piece together like a puzzle. Reddit threads blew up overnight. Users dissected lyrics line by line, linking them to real court dates, old tweets, and suspicious fallouts. And then the real twist came. Just days after the album dropped, Thug sat down for a surprise interview. The setting was dim, no audience, just a mic, a chair, and Thug, dressed in black, face serious. "People think they know what happened," he said, "but they don't. I was never just fighting a case. I was fighting a system, and some of the people closest to me were helping them." He didn't name names directly, but when the interviewer asked about people who flipped, Thug stared straight at the camera and said, "They flipped before the feds even came knocking. They just needed an excuse." The internet went nuclear. Blogs, channels, influencers. Everyone had a take. Was he talking about Gunna? Was Kev part of it? And who else had betrayed him? Meanwhile, the legal team for the prosecution wasn't staying silent. A press release was issued stating that Young Thug's public behavior and reckless music could be used as evidence in future hearings. They accused him of manipulating public sentiment and inciting hostility against law enforcement. Thug's team responded swiftly. They filed a countersuit claiming character defamation and unlawful targeting. This was no longer just about a probation violation. This was now a media war, a courtroom war, and an industry war all at once. Yet through it all, Thug stayed focused. Part 2 of the album, titled Sentence Pending, was already complete. Sources claimed it was even darker, even more personal. And this time, it included voice notes, recorded calls, and spoken word poetry, written during his time behind bars. But the most controversial moment was yet to come. In the final track of Sentence Pending, Thug included a hidden verse, just 30 seconds, where he called out, "The one who called me brother, but dropped the dime behind the curtain." He ended the verse with the words, "I know what you did, and I know why." That line alone sparked a frenzy. People started speculating it was aimed at Gunna, again. Others argued it was Kev. Some even believed it was directed at an industry executive who had been quietly linked to the case's timeline. Then, as if to confirm suspicions, Thug released a short film on his YouTube channel titled Violation. In it, he played a version of himself caught between loyalty and survival. Betrayal scenes, surveillance footage, recreations, and a closing monologue that sent chills. They said I was a danger. Nah, I was a target. And when they couldn't find what they needed, they made it up. You think I didn't see it? Every fake handshake, every smile that hid a knife. As the film ended, fans were left stunned. It wasn't just music. It was evidence. It was testimony. And while the next court date loomed, Thug's message was clear. This wasn't over. The streets of Atlanta rallied behind him once again. Murals were painted. Free Thugger shirts re-emerged. Industry peers, even those who stayed silent before, started speaking up. Meek Mill tweeted, "That boy got set up." Metro Boomin posted, "The system feared his power. Now they gonna fear his voice." And just like that, the narrative had flipped again. Young Thug wasn't just fighting for his name anymore. He had become a symbol for injustice, for loyalty, for resistance. And as the courtroom doors prepared to open once more, the world waited. Not just to see if he'd walk free, but to see if he'd expose everything before they could silence him again. And just like that, we're left with more questions than answers. Is young Thug truly free, or has the war only just begun? Was the probation violation a real slip-up, or a strategic trap set to silence one of hip-hop's loudest voices? Fans are split, the industry is shaken, and the courtroom feels more like a stage in a never-ending drama. Thug's music may have told one side, but the streets and his loyal fan base are waiting for the final verdict, not from the judge, but from history. Did the system overreach? Did his own people betray him? Or is this all part of a much bigger game being played behind the scenes? The cryptic lyrics, the powerful visuals, the public statements, they all point to one thing. Young Thug is not going down quietly. No matter how many times he's pushed back, he comes back louder, sharper, and more determined. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think Thug's recent arrest was part of a targeted setup? Was his reunion with Gunna a sign of forgiveness, or a trap waiting to explode? And what did he really mean in that last verse? Who dropped the dime? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We're reading everything. Make sure you like this video if you were shocked by these twists. Subscribe if you want to stay locked in on all the latest rap drama, and hit that bell so you don't miss part 2 of this story. Because trust us, there's more coming. This is more than a case, it's a movement. And we're watching it unfold together, one beat, one bar, one courtroom twist at a time. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and stay tuned.